Okay, so since they're not here to ask specific questions, I'm going to just focus on making sure that each of these moves are accomplishing the basics. So starting out, open corners first. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then we have that same move again. Next up, open sides. So what I expect to see is an approach. Okay, perfect. Okay, and Joseki. This one's a little far. I will be able to invade this later very easily. So I prefer maybe something. I actually don't know what the modern to the diagonal is lately, but let's just say something simple. If we just do that, yeah, it can be a little cramped, but it's okay. But probably more active is like here or here, something a little bit closer to this. But this one's a little far, possible, but not technically basic. So if you're playing this one, I hope you know the variations in here. Without studying that, it's not basic. Okay, so we're playing the open side. Okay. And yeah, 3-3 can be considered as big as an open side because AI is fun. So I consider 3-3 as an okay move. It's as big as an open side. However, 3-3 is not more important than an urgent move. Let's say you have a baseless group. Let's say I attack you. Okay. 3-3 is not bigger than this at the moment because you're under attack. So attack and defense is bigger than a big move. 3-3 is just a big move. But okay, so we blocked and we face in the open side direction. That's perfectly fine. Not quite a fan of this though. So probably what I would like to do is this one and double Hane. The reason for this is because the double Hane just means you're going to give up the outside for the territory in the corner. The reason I kind of like this is because it works with this stone a little bit. It gives you a position on the bottom, gives you a corner and a side, and it seems like an okay combination. It's not perfect, but we're not pros, right? But as soon as we play this one thing I don't like is that you have an open skirt on the bottom. That means white's on the second line. You haven't blocked it. So the Yosei here is like really, really bad. There's no points here right now. And you have to ask yourself, what does this move do if there's no territory right here? The influence, you already have influence. This stone doesn't help that much with influence. So it feels like a bad combination. So maybe the Joseki choice was a little bit not good. I give it the high. I prefer low on my opponent's side. It's just easier. High is more about being flexible with the center. But I think at this level, just easy is better. Just make a base. They push towards sickness, make a base. Easy life. Okay, so here, go down to make a base. Approach, tricky direction, but probably the top side because it's there's already one stone on this side technically. I think the AI likes the kick, but I really don't like it without a pincer stone. So when we play the kick, so play here. When we play the kick, this is the normal Joseki. 2 stones, jumps 3 for a base, perfectly fine. And we can go 4th line because we have a stone on both sides. So we have stone on both sides for support. We can go 4th line. So 2 stones, jumps 3. It's kind of a perfect position for black, a perfect normal exchange. But for white, it's not. Because for white, we have this 3-3 Aji. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we can cut, but the end game here is not great. Okay, and then if we block, we Atari, we can't connect because then we just lose the stone. So we have to go here, take, there. So it's very easy for black to reduce this corner. And that's just the reduction. What if we get a stone right here and a stone right here? And we start some sort of invasion idea. Like there's so much Aji in there. There's so much weakness in there. So it's not territory yet. You consider maybe half of it territory at most. But black had a perfect result. So I think the AI thinks it's okay, but I haven't fully understood it to explain why it's okay yet. So usually, this is more common in handicap games. Let's say that white had a stone right here and black went in. Okay. When we have a stone right here, that's much better. Because now you can't make that perfect 3-space extension. Now you can only extend 1. And now you're cramped And that's an okay trade because white has Aji, but black's cramped. That's more common with the kick. So when you play the kick right here, usually I want to have like a good reason for it. And if you studied it with the AI, it's perfectly fine. But on this position, it looks super nice for black. This is the move. 2 stones jumps 3. It's also a 5 space extension, which is a good extension distance from this. So 2 stones jumps 3, plus you have a knight's move enclosure. So the top side looks super nice for black, and the left side isn't quite perfect for white. So I feel like the exchange rate is a little bit good for black. This one, this is an evasion point because these 2 stones don't have a base if I just cut you. So a little bit of weakness. Okay, so we're choosing an evasion. So this says that the top side is the largest framework and we're going to invade. Possible. Okay, so we chose an attachment. It's more complex than approaching a 4th line. So the simple ones are here, here, and here. Okay, and at single digit Q, we usually want to pick the ones that maybe do something extra. So like I think the A point would be more interesting because it also might attack these 2 stones. But it's not like maybe you say the corner's too big, too much territory. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you made that judgment call. Okay, so you attachments are also common, and what we can do at single digit Q. So yep. Technically we should be keeping our base, and then white extends, we kick, and then jump, and then white will jump somehow. Maybe here, just something. This is more what I would expect. It's a more common basic shapes. If we don't, then now I actually start making my eye space in your base. Now, if you don't surround me, let's say you wanted Sente, like I'm gonna go here. Well, now maybe I can actually pressure you a little bit. So maybe you wanted to attack these 2 stones later. Well, now I can defend myself in Sente. Maybe I'll even break through your influence by threatening to take your base. Right? So it's a little bit of Aji right here. So make sure you're keeping an eye on bases. Okay, so black chose to surround. This almost never helps with eyes. If you wanted the eye in the corner, it's right here. But technically speaking, there's a throw-in. So a Hane will never help you with an eye on the first line. Hane on the first line almost never helps you, like 90% of the time. So if you wanted eye space, so let's say defense, okay? Can we Tanuki? Not yet, we're gonna die. So we want to play local. So can we escape? No. So step 3, expand eye space. Boom, 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 boom. All right, now we're alive, and we did that Sente. Let's say your opponent wants Sente. Boom, I want Sente. Well, now on the top side, there's no territory because it's an open skirt. So if you want Sente, he has to give up the top side, or at least for a little bit. So I would think expanding your eye space is a little bit better here. Just here. If you have to come back, then your move definitely isn't good. Because if you have to fix your own shape that you played first, then it's not a good move. It's not time to leave yet, right? White's not alive. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yep, I'm just wrong. Okay. But you can get this move, right? Let's say white ignores. Oh, let's say white ignores. Doot. Yeah, white's dead. So yeah, at least one. You can at least get one move here. That's helpful. Okay, and now we can leave. Actually, we can get 2 moves. Yeah, because if white goes here, boom, 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 dead. So white has to play again. And now we can leave. Now we can do whatever you did. It's free stuff. Block some points. Free points is free points. Positive exchange rate. Okay, let's talk about this move. What does it do? Does it attack? No. White has a base-ish, so we have to unsettle before we can surround. It doesn't quite surround. We don't have a cutting point because that's a net. So it looks like we're trying to build the bottom position. Okay, so we ask ourselves, we're not playing defense, we're not playing offense, so we're playing a big move. Okay, big move. Open corners, no. Open sides, no. Largest framework. Probably the left side is the largest framework. And when I say that, let's just imagine, let's say black builds, and probably here if you wanted to build, and then white builds, and then let's say black build. Oh, let's say black builds, and then white builds. White's is clearly bigger. And yeah, it's not the perfect. You probably want at least one more move over here for white, like here or here. But white is clearly getting more than black. White is affecting a much bigger area than black. So if you ever say that I'm going to play a big move like this, but you're not on the largest framework, I'm just going to ignore you. I'll go like over here or something. Or maybe I'll lean on your weakness. Boom, boom, boom. Make this Sente exchange rate and then play over here. I'm fine with ignoring your moves if you're not in the right area. And you can gain a lot of free moves. If your opponents play moves like these, you can gain a lot of free moves at this level. Probably at least 15 moves, 10 to 15 moves can be ignored at this level. So this would be one of them. Look for chances like this. So for black, just play on the left. Maybe an invasion. If you're really interested in using this stone right here, honestly, I think the top side is more interesting for black than the bottom. So let's say you wanted to build the top and you didn't want to invade. You could reduce. I mean, yeah, he gets fourth line territory, so that's probably not ideal, but there's a position. You never know, right? If you wanted to do that. So there's multiple ways to handle it. Just pick whatever you're comfortable with, but you got to play on the biggest framework. If you're not on the biggest framework, I'm just going to ignore you. Yeah. I don't like it. It looks like you're trying to fix the corner. I'm not sure if you are or not. I don't like it. If you wanted to fix with this one, Nobis are better than Hanes for Yosei, and this is a Yosei move. It has nothing to do with attack and defense at the moment. It has to do with because black blocks, white plays, black still has base, white still has base, so now black can go play the big move, which is the left side. So it's only in game. Okay, if we're talking in game, Nobis are better because they're Sente. End game is all about Sente, 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 forcing. But if we don't play, if we're trying to play big move, we shouldn't be playing in game. And if we are going to play big in game, we want to be Sente. This is very good too. There's some Aji in here, yes, but like free moves are free moves. This area is not nearly as big as the left side. But okay, this one I actually don't hate. I mean, defending your base is good, but white kind of got a free exchange here, which is not good. But not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. I like this Tiger's Mouth more than I like P6. Okay, so white plays a big move. Black is building the bottom. If you want to build the bottom, this open skirt makes this really hard to build the bottom, but maybe it's okay. Maybe this one's okay. Now we're attacking. So I don't really think this is bad to try to unsettle on the right side so you can attack something. I think it's an interesting idea, but the timing is very strange. Why did we build before attacking? So it's like nothing has changed on the right. So if we're going to attack, why not just attack? Because attacking is bigger than big moves in the priority list. Defense, offense, big moves. So attacking is bigger than the big moves. So I feel like we should have attacked one step sooner. Okay, so maybe you're playing defense. I don't know. Okay, white defends. So we've unsettled. Now it's time to surround. We're fine. You can connect. You're okay. I don't see a way to cut this. Yeah, unnecessary defense. Okay, so white's unsettled. So now use all this moyo. Maybe a cap, shoulder hit. I don't see a nice move anywhere, so cap or shoulder hit. Yeah, I don't understand this move. If we're unsettling, it means we want to attack and make a positive exchange rate. Why did we unsettle if we're not going to attack? Why give white more stones over here to help if we're not going to attack? Big move wise, left side. Oh, I didn't actually notice this move. Fourth line. Fourth line is how you build the left. Here is actually a bad relationship. Boom, 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 boom. It's a very bad relationship here. You don't make fifth line territory. Fourth line, and then later you can build it upwards. But you need like a third line and fourth line for the side. If you're playing fifth line, it means you're interested in the center, not the side. But in this case, you do want the side and you want to build it up to the center. So this one's a little bit of a bad shape. It'd be different if you were attacking something, but you're not. So I would just slide. If we're playing the end game here, just slide is okay. And we did all this in Gote. I really don't like it. Kind of interesting, but also this weakness. But maybe we're prepping to attack. So maybe. But yeah, weak groups first. I want to fix this weak group. Here? Just jump. Maybe make some eye space. I'm actually not sure what to do. This group's pretty weak. Cap. So let's talk about profit. This is probably a little higher level than 9Q. It's probably more like 6Q, 5Q. But let's say I want to attack the right side, and I have multiple options to attack the right side. And I'm like, okay, which one do I want the best profit from? Like, which one gives me the best profit? Well, a good way to think about that is what's the next thing to do? Okay, open corners, open sides, largest framework. Or maybe there's a weak group, somewhere else weak group that we can do some sort of leaning attack, right? Let's say we're just thinking about big moves. Okay, left side is definitely the next big framework. So if I want to attack this, I want to attack it in a way that supports the next big move, or supports the next attack, or supports the next goal. So what about a cap? Let's just, run away. I don't know where white runs. Let's say white runs, and let's say white lives. Doesn't matter. Now I'm on the outside. I can use this to support a reduction, or maybe I support an invasion, because if I invade somewhere, I don't think you can on this one. Let's say I invaded somewhere and white gets thickness. Well, I have stones canceling out that thickness. So this actually can support whatever you're going to do over here. So that's a good idea for profit. This one, it looks like you're trying to build the top side. I think shoulder hit would do that a little bit better. You're not being very consistent. So I think black is all over the place. Pick a plan and stick to it. Be consistent with your plans. Even if it's only the second best plan, being consistent with it is better than trying the best plan and then the second best plan and then the third best plan right back to back to back. Like, you'll end up doing none of the plans. So being consistent is very important. One space jumps, much, much, much easier to use. Two space, it looks like you're trying to sabaki. I don't know if that's a good idea here. This also attacks this, though, so maybe white doesn't have time to cut it. But this can definitely be cut. And when you're playing defense, you want to stay connected. It's a lot, two space jumps. It's a lot of cutting points. That's a cutting point. Oh, white just cuts, or black just cuts. So defense has for both sides. Make sure you're using shapes that can connect. Otherwise, things might backfire. If you find yourself dying a lot, check your two things. One, make sure your groups have bases, or maybe you didn't notice when they lost their base. Or two, you got cut somewhere. That's a way that those two things are ways groups will die. A third way is if you're invading at bad spots, and bad invasions will die. But the other two are more common: cutting points and bases. Yeah, now it's a big headache. However, not impossible. Black's also weak, so if we can be clever and use this weakness to make an eye right here in Sente, and then come back and make an eye and Gote over here, should be possible. It doesn't matter if we cut right here if he just cuts right here, because then he's still alive. Oh, I see. We're gonna. You're aiming at these to connect. Possible, but cut. Little bit dangerous. Little bit dangerous. This is not right, because I just fixed my cutting point. Everything's connected, and I have an eye. Everything's fixed. And I'm almost out. I almost have 2 eyes. It's not good. So wrong cut. Okay. Okay. Now you're alive. Just stay connected and you're alive. That's a knight's move. Knight's moves are cuttable. What if I just cut? You went behind my line. So this is an invasion because you are not connected. You're behind the line. So now it's a life and death problem. Very dangerous for black. Okay. And now I think we're actually in Yosei. There's no large framework. So a good hint for Yosei is when you're looking at any open frameworks, you want to find a framework that's bigger than a single center quadrant. So if you look at all the center quadrants, like that one, my poorly drawn squares, all the quadrants have stones in them. So there's no large framework anymore. Now it's just small frameworks. So that's your hint that Yosei started. There's no more attack and defense. There's no more large frameworks. So now we're in Yosei. What do we do in Yosei? Go for the second line, Sente, then the first line, Sente, then push the borders in Sente, then you play a big move. So now I'm looking for Sente. Sente, Sente, Sente. Boom, Sente. Boom, Sente. Okay, any other second line Sente? Maybe here. Boom. Then first line Sente. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, boom. Maybe that's not a go. Okay, just leave that because that's Gote. That one is Sente. Dude. Maybe why we'll try this first. Doesn't matter. As long as the result is Sente. Then here. Do. Just take all your Sente, then push the border in Sente. Push the border in Sente. Just find places you can get Sente. And then after that, play a big move. So take all your Sente, then play a big move. Being able to start Yosei and play Sente, like all your Sente in Yosei, is worth at least 20 points at this level. If you can do it properly, you can gain at least 20 points. So at minimum, if you start Yosei at the proper timing, and you are taking all your Sente, second line Sente, first line Sente, and then when more Sente pops up, you take those Sente. So if you're able to be very Sente and start it at the right timing, it's probably worth at least 2 ranks at this level. Now, the tricky part is if the game isn't close enough for Yosei to matter, then it's not going to matter. But when it is close enough for the Yosei to matter, it's a good way to seal the deal. So I guess time's almost up. So my final thoughts will be Josekis. You have some Josekis for both directions in the opening. One third line, one fourth line. Middle game, watch the cutting points, make your bases, and don't make multiple weak groups unnecessarily. Like multiple weak groups is scary. So I would avoid that if you can. Attack things that are behind your line of control. Surround them. Caps and shoulder hits are common shapes in the middle game. End game is a second line Sente, first line Sente, then push the borders in Sente, and then play a big move and wait for Sente again. Does anyone have any questions about anything I talked about?
No, thanks so much. Thanks again.
Awesome. So we do have 5 minutes. So if anyone has any other questions, I can also answer them, like study questions or position questions.
Hey, yeah, I have something, and this is it's a little hard to phrase this, but when you were going over the early Joseki in the beginning of this review, I got a little confused because there were cases where you showed long extensions for one side and said it was like too long and it's going to get cut. But then, like, there was another case where I think it was in the top right. You said that like the extension was too slow and it should have been longer. So that may have even been the previous game that I'm thinking of. But the idea is like in the early game, when should you think about like doing some kind of tight enclosure or maybe making a base versus taking, a 3 or 5 space extension? And is it just preference?
Okay. I think I understand the misunderstanding. There's, first off, in an open side, there's 3 things that you can do: enclose a corner, approach a corner, or play an extension. An extension is a 4 space or 5 space jump. Okay. However, with Josekis, it's more about bases because you're near your opponent's stones. Okay, so let's take this one for example. This one, we're looking at A, B, and C. Okay, A is not weak whatsoever because there's no white stones around it. It has a base, everything else. So it can play an extension just fine. It can just extend. And if white goes in, you can attack it because you're not weak. But C has white stones on the left side of it. So if I get too far away from C and white goes in, C doesn't have any eye space. So it has to do with your opponent's stones being around you. So with C, I'm thinking make a base. 1 stone jumps 2, 2 stones jumps 3. Go as far as you can without getting cut to maximize your eye space. Okay, that's a base. But with A, I'm just thinking extension. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. If I heard you correctly, you're saying that when there are not white stones around or opposing stones, then go for an extension, which is something large.
Well, no, you have 3 options. So for like let's say there's a star point right here. There's no white stone around. I don't have to worry about a base right now. Okay, if there's no white stones, base is not really relevant. Okay, so I have, let's just say I want an open side. This one. There's 3 options. I can enclose to make myself strong and get some points. I can play an extension, which is a 5 space jump to just get some control of some area, or I can approach, which is to play 1 space away, 3rd or 4th line. So that would be considered a big move. Bases are defense. So it just, when you're near your opponent, you switch to defense. When you're not near your opponent, you switch to big move or offense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
Awesome.